Hello, everyone. Hello, welcome to another episode of Read With Me. I'm yours truly, I'm Isabel Badell. I'm super excited to jump on this call today and most importantly, read with you, continue to read with you this amazing book. So we are reading Invent It, Sell It, Bank It by Lori Greiner. She's the star of ABC's Shark Tank. And she's one of my favorite sharks personally. Okay. But what I really do love about her is the fact that she's willing to put in that tenacity. She's willing to go out there and get her hands dirty. She's willing to go out there and make moves, regardless of where she is in her business, regardless of where she is in her career. She's not scared to go out there and get it. And sometimes in business, you might get a little complacent, you might get a little sluggish, or you might get a little tired here and there. And I feel like books are tools with secrets of the most incredibly wealthy, most incredibly versatile, and the most incredibly multifunctional people that have made something of themselves. And a lot of them started from zero, especially Lori, she started this whole entire thing saying that she had no clue what she was doing. Like business was definitely not in her cards. And she started creating ways of putting her thoughts onto paper into reality, and how creating all of that made her move towards creating new stuff. So it's a really awesome place, especially when you're looking to create something new in your business, or when you're looking to reignite the passion within your business. I feel like this is such a great book to, reignite that passion back into your business. So I'm really excited to get into it. We are in chapter 5 already. Wow. We're already in chapter 5 of this amazing book. And most importantly, we're about to do chapter 5 in 2 sections. What I do like about Lori is that she does give a lot of juice within each chapter, and the chapters are kind of like pretty big. So we've separated these 2 chapters into 2 sections because of the depth that's inside each one. So let's get into it. Okay. Number 5 is a really cool one. It's going to talk about how to get funding. And just as a quick side note here, typically the reasons why businesses do not last more than 2 to 3 years, one of the reasons is actually funding. One of the other reasons is because they lose momentum. And then the third reason is because they forgot how to actually hire, how to expand. And a lot of it has to do with funding. You either run out of funding, you run out of cash flow within your business, or you don't know how to get it. You don't know how to actually fund your business by getting, small business loans, or leveraging credit, or leveraging different avenues within your business to actually grant you the opportunities to invest back into your business. So I'm really excited for this chapter because it's incredibly such a valuable tool when you know exactly how to fund your business. Okay, not just acquiring customers. That is probably like a fifth of the versions to actually fund your business. There's so many different ways. So I'm sure she's going to actually go into like a couple, which this is why this chapter is broken up into 2 sections. So let's get into it, shall we? All right. So how to get funding. And she starts with a quote by Walt Disney. All of our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them. Love that. Inventing your way to success and wealth doesn't come cheap. Maybe you started working out of your garage and built your first model out of odds and ends at home. But once you decide to move from the occasional hobbyist to a full-time entrepreneur, you'll be amazed at how much money you'll spend before you even make your first pitch. First, there's the money you'll spend on your prototype. Then once your market research confirms that there's interest and demand for your invention, you'll need to start spending money to manufacture your product. You may also file a patent, which can sometimes be another hefty investment. Together, these expenditures can add up to anywhere from a few $1,000s to tens of thousands of dollars. And that's before a single unit has been made. And chances are you didn't think to start a fund ahead of time to finance this endeavor. I mean, how could you? If you're like most people, your great idea hits you like a bolt out of the blue. And once you recognize its potential, you also realize that you would have to move lightning fast if you wanted to ensure that no one beat you to it. So now you suddenly need cash and lots of it. Unless you've already built and sold a business or are otherwise in an extremely comfortable financial position, you're probably going to have to borrow money to follow through with getting your invention to market. How much will you need? The best way to figure that out is to draw up a solid business plan. This is where you put into writing a detailed explanation of what what your business is, how it will operate, how you intend to make it grow. Let me write that down. How much will you need? So let's say you need 100 grand. What are you going to use that 100 grand for? Okay. Think of it that way. What is the best way to figure out this is how it will operate, how you intend to make it grow. And if you've gotten this far, you've probably already gathered a lot of the information you need. The market research you've completed to determine your invention's market demand, competition, customer demographics, and price will be the foundation for your plan. In contrast to your elevator pitch, which boils your idea or business down to a couple of sentences that can explain and excite even a stranger about your idea. A business plan is a very detailed document. It requires, if you're going to ask a bank or venture capital firm for money, but it should be written even if you're going to self-fund your company. You'll learn a lot by doing it, and it is something to follow when times get tough. You can and should even publish it for your key employees so everyone is on the same page. A business plan is a multi-page document that should explain to an investor or stranger who has no prior knowledge of your product or business exactly what your product is or service is, how and where you're going to make it, and how you're going to sell it, your assessment of the competition and why yours is better, and how much money you're going to need to start it and run it in the near and long-term future. Each type of business is different, but for a basic product invention business, these are the minimums. I'm going to highlight where she's talking about a stranger or an investor has no prior knowledge of who you are, what you do, and how you can be a benefit, pretty much. Prior knowledge of your product or business exactly, what your product or service is, how and where you're going to make it, and how you're going to sell it. Your assessment is also from the competition. So if you haven't watched the previous videos, she's talking about market research. So she's pretty much giving you the game plan of what she did. She went out there to like different events, and she was actually standing there asking people to fill out forms to get insight whether or not that person would actually buy that product that she's selling. And nowadays it's so much easier because we can actually get a lot more responses back from people by just asking them, hey, are you willing to actually fill out this quick form? It takes you 30 to 40 seconds, and it would be incredibly valuable. In return, you can actually give them something. You can create something for them. You can ask them something. You can even invite them somewhere. Okay, so there's so many different ways now that you can actually leverage market research. You can even go into different, she mentioned one of them, and which I actually went in and checked out for myself. You can go into places like SurveyMonkey, and they actually provide a service where you can actually get information on previous surveys that they've done. So they've collected thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of surveys, and you can actually purchase those surveys and those results, and then you can attach valuable data into whether a business plan or whether it's a pitch, whether it's funding that you're trying to get, or whether it is that you're trying to make sense of a new product or inventory that you're looking to create. So take advantage of the previous video that we created, chapter 4. Incredible video. But most importantly, you got to understand that you want to make sure that as your business is evolving and you're creating more and more products within your business and you're helping serve your ideal target market, you are providing value. And most importantly, you know exactly where you're going. Like, what is that roadmap? You know, that's so important. And in here, she's going into the different minimums, okay, when it comes to the actual assessments needed. So one is executive summary, 1 to 2 paragraphs, company summary, it's a paragraph, market description, 1 paragraph, products, 1 paragraph, manufacturing or procurement is 1 paragraph, sales strategy, that's 1 paragraph, fulfillment, 1 paragraph, marketing and PR campaign, 1 paragraph, management team, 1 paragraph, patent and trademarks, 1 paragraph, sales projections, 1 page, operating cost is 1 page. 13, 5-year projected financial statements, including a break-even analysis, 1 to 2 pages, launch inventory and first steps, that's a 1 pager. 15, financing, equity offering or loans, 1 paragraph, and 16, investment opportunity, 1 paragraph. This is awesome. This is a really, really, really great breakdown. So I don't know if I've shared this with you guys, but I went to business school as well, along with architecture. And literally I've attended like 3 different business plan competitions. One of them I won, 2 of them was I was like a runner-up with my team. And literally this right here, the 16 steps that she's sharing was exactly what we had to build every single time that we were going to pitch a new idea and win some prize money. Really great. She actually breaks it down even more simple, to be honest. But if you're able to create this, I think that gives you a more solid, not only plan for yourself, but for the people that you're actually sharing your business with. Okay, awesome. So after reading your business plan, investors don't have to be convinced to invest or not. They should understand the concept and be informed enough about the key issues and assumptions that they can go out and research the parts they are concerned about on their own, and then come back to you for answers to their most important questions. Your management team should have a clear understanding of the goals and milestones they should be working toward. Once you prepare your business plan, don't just shelve it. You should update it often, even if you are the only employee. It will make you realize when you've missed deadlines and have overspent. It will remind you if you've gotten off track in your day-to-day operations or have changed your focus, so you can decide if that is really a good or bad thing. If you did get investors, they will be expecting you to be following the original plan when it comes time for a board meeting. If you decide a course change is really for the best, they are going to need convincing. The updated business plan is about all that will give them confidence that you know what you're doing and not just chasing the flavor of the month. That's cool. The main problem I often see in young entrepreneurs' business plans is that they are naive. They don't understand the difference between a great idea and a great business. They write a business plan using all the information they have, but they fail to take into account the information they don't have, meaning they don't look far enough ahead and plan for the cost of growth. For example, entrepreneurs will usually know what it will cost to make their products and what they will sell them for. They know their margins and they use that number to calculate their profits based on how many units they can sell. They know which stores they're going to sell it to try to sell it to. They predict that store sales will double or triple from those numbers they calculate and their worth. The problem is that these inventors completely forget those additional sales are going to require additional infrastructure like real estate and staff, especially if they land Walmart as a client. They don't take into account the cost of all those adjustments. Additional sales also brings more risk of being stuck with overhead when things go slow or bad. You need a plan for that too. Nothing sells forever, and sometimes items are a flash in the pan. Entrepreneurs tend to plot their sales in a continuing upward curve, ignoring the fact that even huge popular products will see the upward arc and can eventually plateau and then begin to fall. So a good business plan should include some thought to how you're going to keep the business growing through product extensions and new ideas. New ideas are the lifeblood of a business. Nice. New ideas are the lifeblood of a business. Investors will love to hear your great ideas and they love revolutionary concepts, but they're looking at your business plan. They're looking for evidence that your business can survive beyond your single great idea. If they don't see it, they know that if they want to invest in something that can make them some money for the long term, they're going to have to step in and help build the business themselves using their own knowledge, connections, and infrastructure. So your business plan not only serves you as a guide to keeping your business on track, it is also the document that investors will read to determine whether you're someone who is going to make them money or someone who is going to lose their money. Your business plan needs to indicate that you have thought ahead about all the potential costs for running a business, not just selling an idea. There is a one size fits all business plan. Every business is different. So don't think that there's a one size fits all. Every component and different necessity requires cash. So, but the reality is that at this stage, you simply can't know for sure how much money you're going to need. Even the best planning and organizational skills can't protect you from the unexpected, and there will inevitably be times when you have to back up and start over or head down another path. Whenever that happens, it will cost you time and materials, which of course means it will cost you money. For entrepreneurs, no one I know, few entrepreneurs have ever come in under or exactly on budget. Every single time, entrepreneurs has to learn along the way. Awesome. So now she's going to get into budget for unexpected expenses. And I would love to know, I mean, as I'm reading this, I recognize like just going into like a year ago or maybe like even a few months, like the ability to scale your business or even the time that it takes to hire new people or the actual investments needed to make sure that you're considered for funding, like all of those things take so much time, effort, and all of that, and it takes you away from like, I guess, income generating activities that you might not be doing. So there's so many different things like within a business plan that is not just requirements for investors per se, but it's just for you. Like I honestly look at this list, the 1 to 16, and I'm like, that is the team. Like if I can get 4 people to cover all of this and have them be like the four people, actually the management team that covers this whole entire process. I mean, that's a really, really awesome way to execute and deliver long term, especially in the bigger categories like marketing and sales. Marketing it's alone, but sales on its own, like that's really key. Okay, so let's get into budget for unexpected expenses. Revisions. Very few prototypes are perfect on the first try. You'll make an adjustment and solve one problem and advertently create another. Your changes may double the cost of your sample. There goes money down the drain. I've had it happen to me. And just so everyone is aware, okay, every time that she's talking about prototypes and like different physical products, like I associate that as digital products because the audience that we're connecting to here is coaches, and coaches have digital products like high-end ticket services, $2,000 and above. It's digital products, whether they have a course, a membership, a program, a mastermind, events. Like that's who we are specifically talking to here. And whenever she mentions like adjustment to prototypes, I feel, okay, and I associate that to like whenever you're about to change your key signature program, which might be your mastermind, okay, whether you want to take it from, 10 people to 20 people to 30 people, like there's steps and levels to that. And yes, it will cost and double the cost of that particular event. So just wanted to put some context in there. And then she goes into excessive shipping charges. To keep costs down, many inventors have their inventions, including their prototypes, made in Asia. But the cost of shipping samples back and forth between here and China can cost $300 or $400 per package, depending on the weight and volume of your product. Of course, the more samples you send back and forth as you make adjustments, the higher the cost. Compliance issues. You need to be aware of the government regulations and consumer product safety laws. If you manufacture your product and it fails to meet the certain requirements, you'll have to scrap your inventory and start new. The consequences for putting out a product that fails to comply can include everything from paying a fine to, in the worst case scenario, is being recalled. It would be excessively difficult for a new entrepreneur to recover from a recall because not only would the entrepreneur lose tons and tons of money, it would hurt all of his or her relationships with retailers and customers. That's a big one. That's a big one. And I can see, compliance issues like there have been many situations where people actually copy like a product and then they try to sell that same exact product without knowing that that particular company actually has trademarks on that particular product or their brand. And they get a cease to desist, or a letter of cease to desist. I think that's how it is. And then all of a sudden, the hundreds of hours, the thousands of dollars of advertising, the relationships, or even the sold products that you've been able to sell, like boom, out the window. And that has happened many times. Especially like, I'll just give you an example. Like if you go on, Facebook, and then you see like those ads that come in that don't have a face, they don't have a person actually speaking to you, but they offer maybe a course on copywriting, right? But then it's kind of just like stock video, and they use stock images and stuff like that. A lot of cases have happened where they literally buy a course from someone that sells that particular thing. It's like if they went into our membership, got the entire blueprint of organic lead gen, and then they took all that information and recreated it and sold it, started selling it. Granted, they had to put the hours in to recreate the program. They had to put the marketing in to do the content, and they had to distribute it. Yes, but little do they know that there's specific wording, specific language, specific numbers, specific graphs, specific things that here or there that we've trademarked. So all of a sudden, if they say something like, and this has happened actually with a book that we read, Cash Flow Quadrant. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you, because it's extremely valuable. And I know that we're supposed to be reading here, but it's very important that you actually recognize this. Cash Flow Quadrant, when you're uploading the video, there's specific words in that video, like cash flow or quadrant, or even cash flow quadrant together, where it recognizes the algorithm or even the system recognizes those words. And because those have been copyrighted and those have been trademarked by, Robert and his company, you can't monetize that video. So it's very, very important that you recognize what it is that you're selling, like, I can see like a health coach, right? The 1 minute meal, the 1 minute game plan or something like that. And then if like the fat burning, the belly busting, belly something, fat burning belly buster, something. Let's say that's the name of the course. And then if they haven't done their research or they haven't even Googled those words together, literally someone is making millions off that particular trademark or that particular program somewhere in the world. And if they use it, they have a cease to desist call, and everything goes down the drain, and they can even be sued for that. So she's going to get into the whole trademark thing, because that's one of the things that I'm very, very interested in, because I wanted to learn more about licensing and purchasing companies and licensing them out and all that stuff. So that's one of the reasons why we're here reading this book. So let's get into it. Repacking and reworking. Let's say you've redesigned your packaging, or you've had to fix a design flaw on a product that you've already manufactured and is sitting in a storage facility. It can cost tens of thousands of dollars to pay someone to empty each package, fix the product if necessary, put it in a new package, then put it into master cartons, giant boxes that hold multiple units for shipping, cartons. It's called reworking. It's a service often offered by the fulfillment centers many young businesses work with to store and ship orders. For this reason, once you've established your budget with all contingencies, add another 5 to 10% to it and call it a stuff happens account. Murphy's Law states that anything that can go wrong will go wrong. I like to add the following caveat. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong unless you stay on top of every aspect of your business and are prepared to jump in to solve the problems immediately. I'm going to highlight that because I freaking believe in Murphy's Law very much so. The more investors can see that you've looked at your business from every angle and have a strategic and financial plan in place to deal with shifts in the market, glitches, changes in regulations, and any other potential pitfalls, the more they will feel confident that their money will be spent and that they will be supporting a successful venture. But of course, there will always be instances where something inopportune occurs that you simply could not foresee. Awesome. Overspending on image. You need to be responsible and frugal and wise. When starting out, you don't need a fancy office or staff or anything other than the bare bones of what you need to get the job done. Companies offer perks to their employees because they have to make them happy, productive, and loyal. Your perk is that you don't work for anyone but yourself anymore. And if you haven't already quit your day job, this invention will, you hope, allow you to do so. You don't get a comfortable office, summer Fridays, or gourmet snacks. You have those wonderful things later. Better yet, you can have that for yourself and your employees later when you've grown your business and are reaping the profits. but right now, do without as much as possible. Unfortunately, if there is one piece of conventional wisdom that is true, it's this. You've got to spend money to make money. However, you should at all costs avoid using up your nest egg or that of your parents or leveraging your home. It's worth it to take on partners and greater financial resources or clout if necessary, even if they don't come through with all the money you need. Their credit worthiness or status in the community can help immensely as you round up funds. That's awesome. And I love that. I absolutely love that. Especially nowadays, like there's people making tens of millions of dollars each year without the need of a fancy office, without the need of a big team, and without the need of freaking like physical products. It's amazing. Okay, so this is so good. Okay, valuing your business. Now she's gonna get into some really, really good stuff that I'm like, I freaking love this part. All right. Valuing your business. One of the first things you hear on Shark Tank episode is how much money the entrepreneur wants and how much equity he or she is willing to give up for it. So for instance, if the entrepreneur might ask for 50,000 for 10% of the company, all the sharks quickly jot down these numbers and do a calculation. We take the money asked for and divide it by the percent of the business offered. In this case, $50,000 divided by 0.10, which is the 10% that they're asking for, is 500,000 that company is worth. So they say. The entrepreneur is now telling that he or she believes the company is worth 500,000. Now it's up to us to decide if it really is. Confession, she goes, I hate math. I can make calculations in my head, but not always as fast as I need to on the show. The producers don't let us take our phones or even calculators on the set with us. That's interesting. So I use a little Excel sheet, a cheat sheet. It's a big chart that lists possible asks down the first column and all the different percentages across the top row. It comes in very handy when I need to calculate something very quickly. That's cool. That's cool, Lori. I really like that. She uses a little Excel cheat sheet. And by Excel, I'm assuming that she's like putting it into her notebook because she can't bring in a phone. That's cool. What a business is worth. You'll hear my fellow shark, Kevin O'Leary, often mention that the multiple on some type of business is 5 times free cash flow or one-time sales. In simple terms, a venture capital multiple calculates how much a business is worth based on the number of years of the business's future projected income. When he says 5 times free cash flow, he means he wants to see an earning line that produces enough excess cash that his initial investment is paid back in 5 years. What he's really asking is, when do I get my money back? That's another frequent Kevin line, by the way. You'll hear Mark Cuban make fun of Kevin for applying a VC multiple to the Shark Tank businesses. I agree. You can't use a multiple on a brand new business or a startup. You need to have a few years of history before you can actually really start applying broad ratios. But the concept is good to understand because most of the people you ask for money are going to be coming from this type of background. I basically want to see my money come back in 1 to 3 years. What do I look at when I'm valuing a business? Well, first, I look at the product or idea and I gauge whether it's unique or interesting. Do I feel this is something that will sell? Well, can I make it sell well? If yes, I look at the entrepreneur's manufacturing cost to determine whether the item can sell for a good price that will motivate people to buy. If the answer to that is yes, then I think about all my distribution channels. For example, QVC, department stores, Bed Bath & Beyond, Walmart, Costco, drugstores, grocery stores, and so on. and how many would sell to each. If it looks like in 1 year, I can produce more profits than my investment, I'm basically in. As I said, I don't even think about valuing the business until after we get some proven sales history and momentum going. To be fair to Kevin, though, all the sharks are thinking, when do I get my money back? Indeed. Yeah. I like how this is the thought process, and this is what I consider secrets in books. Okay. First, I look at the product or idea. So do I like it? Do I not like it? Then I gauge whether it's unique and interesting. So she's probably asking herself the 9 different questions. Okay. Is it a hero or a zero? And then can it sell? Right? How can I make it sell? But then I like how she's listing out, okay, cool, my distribution channels. And I associate that with like Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Google Ads, networking events, podcasts. That's what I look at when she's talking about distribution channels. Okay. If you know the numbers on each platform, then you can understand, okay, cool, I have 100 DMs go out. Well, I know that it's going to convert to this amount, and I know that I can produce this, which enables her to be like, okay, I'm in if I can produce more profits than my investment, which is great. Okay, raising capital. There are many ways to get money for your product, but the safest way is to use your own money as wisely as possible. Often, however, even inventors who operate with the frugality of Scrooge just can't carry their invention all the way to production. So, with or without partners, where do inventors turn to raise the capital to fund their dreams? Interesting. And what's crazy, okay? What's really crazy is we've never raised capital. I've never raised capital. I know Vanessa hasn't raised capital, and neither has her family's business raised capital either. So this is a brand new thing. And if you've raised capital, put it in the comments. I'm excited to hear how you raised capital and how amazing it went for you, or if it didn't, let us know as well. So I'm super pumped to lay down these 1, 2, 3, 4 ways to raise capital. Actually, she has even more. Wow, this is going to be so freaking good. All right, let's get into it. Family and friends, this is the first one. Family is probably the easiest source of money for new entrepreneurs. It is wonderful if you have family members who can offer not only emotional support as you embark on your new endeavors, but financial support as well. However, though family is often the first place people turn to for a loan, it's also one of the riskiest. I agree. Be extremely careful in how you set up your arrangement. It may be best not to formalize the loan details to anyone more than an agreed upon financial amount and interest rate, which is required by the IRS for a loan over $10,000. Without that stated interest rate, the loan will be considered a gift, sticking your family members with a gift tax at the end of the year. Regardless, any family member who loans money to another family member should, for all intents and purposes, treat the loan as a gift. So take the expectation and pressure of a specific repayment date out of the equation by drafting a contract that states repayment will occur when the business starts producing net income and the company is greater than 3 months cash to keep its inventory and liabilities paid. Okay, that is the word track that she is saying to use. Repayment will occur when the business starts producing net income and the company has greater than 3 months cash to keep its inventory and liabilities paid. Yes, it's possible that the business will never earn that much money. Yes, this is still the best kind of financial agreement between family members. Many experts will disagree strongly with this advice. However, they will say that every detail of the loan and repayment schedule should be established ahead of time about and and that lenders should have a reasonable expectation of getting their money back by a certain date, even if you're earning a profit. But I don't believe any family member should loan any money with the expectation of getting it back. The family member can hope to get it back, but should give it with the understanding that it's entirely possible that won't happen. And I'm not the only one who feels this way. When he was interviewed for Time magazine, after being nominated 1999 Person of the Year, Jeff Bezos admitted that he said as much when he solicited investments from his friends and family to fund his crazy idea for a new thing called Amazon. I think there's a 70% chance you're going to lose all your money. So I don't invest. So don't invest unless you can afford to lose. Okay. If you don't know this story, go Google it because I've watched it many times and it just hit me right now. Like he had the Jeff had the audacity slash confidence slash I'm gonna make this happen, okay, about Amazon, that he actually went out there and raised money and pretty much told everybody that they might not get their investment back, okay, just to like not have any responsibility over it. But obviously he did right, and Amazon is great and it's producing a lot. Okay. Interesting. You should insist that if family members cannot loan their money with that attitude, they shouldn't lend it at all. If the only way to guarantee that your relationships will not suffer for any reason your business doesn't succeed the way you think it will, or at least as fast as you think it will. If you draft an airtight legal lending document and the borrower fails to honor the agreement and repay at the promised time, the only recourse a lender has to make sure he gets his money back is to sue. Is that really something either of you are prepared to face? It is a tragedy when a family tears itself apart over money, yet it happens all the time. If you think there is any possibility that your relationship with a family member could be damaged should your business not succeed, or you find yourself unable to repay the loan in a timely manner, do not take that money. Just don't. I agree. But if you do, make sure that your agreement establishes in writing what will happen if you succeed and what will happen if you don't succeed. Ensure that no one can say he or she wasn't warned. In the event that you feel you simply must draft a more formal loan agreement, you might consider going to a bank, applying for a loan, and having a family member put up a CD, certificate of deposit, as collateral. Let the bank give you the money directly rather than your family member. If you default and the bank cannot satisfy the outstanding balance from your business, only then will the bank go to the CD for the balance. In the meantime, the person's money is gaining interest and any funds taken to satisfy your loan can be treated as a business loss for tax purposes. This will reduce the family member's personal loss by offsetting future income taxes. Wow. Okay. So that's a really good strategy there. So if you don't know, like you can go to a bank and they'll give you you have to ask for it because they don't in today's time. It's like really, really low interest that you can gain. It's like, I think it was 1% or something like that, 1% a year or something like that. It was really, really low. But you can actually gain that. And you can even use a CD to raise your credit. So if you're building up your business credit, if you're building up your personal credit, you can go to your local bank, the one that you have a relationship with and you have a business account with, and actually open up a CD with them, deposit, I don't know, $5,000 in there, or maybe $1,000, depending on where you are. And now you can start earning interest on that while using that as a collateral to build up your business credit. So look into it. It's a really great way to do so. You're not going to become a millionaire doing it, but just so you are aware, these things have been around for a long, long time. So it's less risky for you. This will reduce the family member's personal loss by offsetting future income taxes, which is also great for taxes, by the way. Okay, this advice goes for borrowing money from friends as well. Often you can get a group of friends excited about getting in on your big idea, and you can raise some capital by consolidating small amounts of money from each of them. But if you take money from friends, try to set up your agreement up without specifying a repayment due date, the same as you would with a family loan. Tell your friends upfront that you're asking them to take a risk, and you'll do everything you can to repay them back. But in the event that you cannot repay, they have to be able to absorb the loss and still maintain their friendship with you. Then document your agreement so that everyone has something to refer to in the future. If you cannot raise the funds from your friends in this manner, you may be forced to offer some equity in the form of a convertible note. This means that if you do not repay the loan within a certain amount of time, the lender has the option to convert it into equity shares into your company. I'm going to highlight that because I didn't know what that is. So a convertible note, that means that if you're not able to repay that loan within a certain amount of time, the lender has the option to convert it into equity shares in your company. You'll need to get advice on how to draft this kind of loan, but your goal should always be to give away as little company or a little equity as possible. Give away too much, and now you could be facing bigger problems later when you try to get more money. Don't be the person who allocated 50% of their business to a group of his friends in exchange for a $500 loan. In addition to share conversion value should be tied to the business value at the time of the conversion, not the date of the loan, so that you don't end up giving half of your business away for a very small amount of money that you might not have needed when you were desperate. Very, very important. I like that she said that. Okay. All right. The other way of doing it. So that was the first one, friends and family. Then she goes into banks. If you've got good credit and your business looks good on paper, you may be able to get a small business loan from a bank. Typically through a bank loan, it will actually require collateral. So be careful when negotiating a bank loan and make sure that you aren't taking such a high risk that you could actually wind up losing something that you can't live without, like your house. The best time to get a bank loan is after you've gotten your first purchase orders. Scrape together just enough money to get you at the point from other sources. Then go to the bank and use your purchase orders as collateral. Once you have purchase orders, the bank will see that you're a credible business owner and will more likely believe that you will be able to pay it back. So bank loans will typically involve a higher interest rate than anything you would be negotiating with friends and family, but this additional cost is probably worth it if it helps you launch your business and makes you behold to a neutral party rather than someone whose relationship matters to you. I had always known that I would have to take out a loan to make my organizer. I had about $25,000 of my own money that I could use to get this prototype made and to pay the various expenses such as traveling to make the pitches. But like most entrepreneurs, I couldn't cover the manufacturing, the packaging costs on my own. So as you'll recall, I got a $120,000 quote to make all the tools for my organizer. By the time that I found out that number, I knew I had orders coming in. Let me say that again. By the time I found out that number, which is 120,000, okay, I knew I had orders coming in. So to determine how much I'd need to borrow from the bank, I had to calculate how much it would actually cost to create inventory, hire a graphic designer, get packaging made, and pay for all the other expenses that would be surely to arise. Ultimately, I got a $300,000 line of credit, and I ended up drawing out a total of $250,000, which covered the following. And then she's going to get into it. $120,000 for tools, $5,000 for graphic design and photography, $25,000 for packaging, and $100,000 for the first run of 20,000 units. Okay, these numbers would probably be slightly different today. Yes, indeed, girl. And may not even be applicable for your particular product. But one thing is still true. Once your orders start coming in, it's amazing how fast the money starts going out. Fortunately, once I was up and running, I was able to use those profits from my first orders to fund the business. Larger orders allowed me to get better terms from our suppliers. So for example, instead of having to pay half up front, half on delivery, we were able to negotiate payment due 30 days after delivery. I was able to increase my credit line so I could accommodate more customers. As I started getting mega orders from QVC, our credit line expanded quickly to about 5 million. Let's go, Lori. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. You got to learn the game. You got to learn this game called credit, y'all. You got to learn the game. And I absolutely love how Lori went into this. Government SBA loans is the next one. Then she goes into venture capital firms, and I'll end it with those, okay? Government SBA loans. Loans are available from banks or institutions that have been backed by the U.S. government Small Business Administration. Basically, the SBA puts up collateral for different kinds of loans, ranging from general loans to be used for establishing your business or growing it, to microloans for smaller sums of money, to 504 loans that can be used to purchase long-term machinery and equipment. Applicants are required to meet different SBA criteria depending on what loan is desired. So go to sba.gov to find out more about applying for a government loan. Venture capital firms. If you are denied a bank loan, the next place to turn may be a venture capital or VC firm. These VC firms are basically pools of money from high wealth individuals who are looking to get a high rate of return on their investments. They are willing to take much greater risk than banks, but they also set a much higher interest rate for loans and often take a piece of the business. It is painful to give up equity at this early stage, but it can be worth it if the alternative is no funding at all. There are many VC firms to choose from, and each one usually specializes in a single industry or business type. They are experts in evaluating businesses' ideas and risks against existing market conditions, competition, and manufacturing alternatives, among other factors too. To find the right VC fund for your business, attend local chambers of commerce or other business group meetings to start networking. Find out who in your area might specialize in your industry and has a good reputation. That banker who turned you down for your loan might still be able to help you by referring you to a VC firm with a good reputation. Each firm operates differently, so investigate several before selecting which one you want to do business with. And I'm going to end it there. But what I do want to read is this particular passage here. After she's mentioning that, she got a $5 million line of credit based on the purchasing orders, based on what she was able to, build up in her business. So I freaking love that because it's so, so important. Once you understand the game and how all of this actually functions, credit lines and funding and being able to leverage your business to get a lot more, it's a game changer. Okay. Do everything you can to maintain your personal relationship with your banker. Make all your interest payments on time. And when possible, keep your banker informed of your seasonality or low and high cash periods. Doing this won't guarantee that you'll get a little leniency should the maturity date come and you're not flush enough to pay, but you never know. It might make your banker willing to work with you to buy you some time. Remember, the bank is a business too. So often, no matter how good the prospects look for your company, if you haven't paid your debt, the bank will grab whatever assets you have at the moment, cut their losses, and move on. Building a good relationship with your banker, just as with anyone else with whom you do business, can only help you if you find yourself with your back against the wall. Again, relationships are everything. So some people might not like banks. Some people might not like taxes. Some people might not, care. okay? But something that, just as a personal note, like something that we do believe in highly, is that you got to get educated. You got to get educated because once you understand the game, once you can understand how everything, functions, now you're able to add your own form into that function and then design your life the way that you envision it versus being on defense the whole entire time. Offense scores. Being on offense, that is when you score. So keep those relationships up and start building that line of credit, that business line of credit. So super, super excited about that. I love this chapter so much, and we're about to get into more and more information on how to get your funding. So I'll see you in the next one.